I really like Aaron because, our appeal is to young people. We're trying to make sure that young people are participating in the political process, that they have hope for America. We want the people who have run up the $34 trillion debt, which they're dumping on that generation, are all older people. And we want somebody young who's going to look out for that generation. Aaron Rodgers is battle tested. He's stood up. He's been hammered by the press, stood up for things we believe in. I like that part of his character.
We'll see. Earlier this week, RFK Jr. announcing some of his VP prospects, which included fellow anti-vax conspiracy theorist Rodgers, New York Jets QB. After that news broke, CNN reported Rodgers has shared conspiracy theories in private conversations regarding the Sandy Hook massacre. CNN knows of two people with whom Rodgers has enthusiastically shared these stories, including with Pamela Brown, who was one of the journalists who worked on this report with Jake Tapper.
In 2013, when CNN's Pamela Brown was covering the Kentucky Derby, she was introduced to Rodgers. Hearing that she was a journalist at CNN, Rodgers began attacking the news media for, quote, covering up important stories. Rodgers then brought up the Sandy Hook shooting and said the news media was intentionally ignoring that the shooting wasn't real, that it was a government inside job. I remind you, the shooting, of course, was very real, very tragic. 20 children and 6 adults were murdered that day. When Pamela Brown asked Aaron Rodgers for evidence of what he was talking about, Rodgers then began sharing various theories that have been disproven numerous times by evidence. Rodgers falsely claimed to Pamela Brown that there were men in black in the woods by the school, and he asked if she thought that was odd. Brown says that she found the entire encounter disturbing.
Sounds like it to me. Some of the conspiracy theories were ones that were at the center of Alex Jones's lawsuit. So there's that. CNN has spoken to another person with a similar story. This person, to whom CNN has granted anonymity so as to avoid harassment, recalled that several years ago, Rodgers claimed Sandy Hook never happened. All those children never existed. They were all actors. When asked about the grieving parents, the source recalled Rodgers saying, quote, they're all making it up. They're all actors. Rodgers has now responded to the CNN reporting. But before we get to that, Cenk, here's the thing. RFK Jr., we just heard in that opening clip, praised Aaron Rodgers for taking it, standing up for what he believes in publicly, getting hit piece after hit piece, attacked by the media. When we get to his response, I don't know if that's true. This stuff is bizarre to me, but if this is who you are, stay with it.
A lot of mainstream media don't give you honest news. We do. You know why? Because of you. Paid membership on YouTube makes all the difference. Hit the join button below and you become the hero that sustains us. So I might have surprising opinions here. I kind of like Aaron Rodgers and I think RFK Jr. Played this one well. But I'll save those for a second because we've got a sports expert here. Waz, take it away.
I think Aaron Rodgers, why he's gotten such a bad rap in the media is, one, the media, let's face it, especially elite media, does tend to be, these educated liberal people, right? And at first, he was sort of parroting stuff that we like. Stuff like, maybe Colin Kaepernick shouldn't get blackballed. Maybe we shouldn't be saying bad things about Muslims after the Charlie Hebdo and all of that stuff. Like he was sort of towing the liberal line on things and people liked it. And then he discovered quite hilariously that both the right and the left of major American politics are corrupted, and he thought he was a genius for it. And that's literally his politics. It's that, the Dems are corrupted too. The Dems push this, big pharma sort of company line on us, which, to Aaron Rodgers' credit, I will say being skeptical of big old pharmaceutical companies was never some conservative thing. It was always a left thing to be skeptical of big corporations. It's just Aaron Rodgers just never scratches beneath the surface. It's just like, I've discovered that Democrats are not perfect either, and I'm now a genius, and I'm gonna follow that line to its most illogical end. And now we're here where the guy's a freaking Sandy Hook truther.
Waz works at The Ringer. Check out his work there as well. So I totally agree with Waz. And there's a whole group of folks on the right who think, oh my God, did you know that Democrats are corrupt? Yeah, brother, we know all the corporate politicians are corrupt. Yeah, I've got bad news for you. So are the corporate Republicans, right? In fact, that's like 99% of the Republican Party. Wait till you find that out. Okay, so, but the reason why I said that I kind of like Aaron Rodgers is because I don't mind him if he's just a civilian. His problem is that he's going to do too many talk shows and spreading this crap to other people and encouraging other people to believe the things that are just not true or not correct, right? And some of which is, hurtful. And so, but I know you're going to find this silly, but not just the interviews that I've seen of his throughout his career, but I watched Hard Knocks when they were featuring the Jets, etc. He's a very likable guy in person, and here's the critical part: he doesn't appear to have bad intent. Now you hear what he said about Sandy Hook, and it's super easy to hate him, and of course that's nutso stuff, right? And I get how hurtful it is, but there's a difference. Sometimes I'm amazed by football players who say things like against Colin Kaepernick, etc., that are so racialized that I'm like, you played football your whole life with black folks and you're still racist? Like I'm amazed by that. And almost all those guys, their bad intent oozes out of them, right? With Aaron Rodgers, I never get that sense. But did he go too far down this conspiracy rabbit hole? Definitely. It's perhaps his Achilles heel. That's a football joke? Okay, but don't get me wrong. He's not right about any of it. And one of our members made a good point. Jersey Prague said, Aaron Rodgers also lied to his teammates about being vaccinated during the pandemic. Swell guy, POS. So that's a super fair point. And remember, with this statement, he didn't really retract it either. His half apology is a little weak sauce.
Basically, he said the kids died for sure. Now he's saying the kids died, but it might have been a government psyop. It might have. It's just. I agree with Cenk to a certain extent. He's absolutely on some level of spiritual journey in terms of a seeking of the truth. I tend to crap on Barack Obama a decent amount over here, and that's because I was a freaking Obot, big fan of the guy. And then when you realize that essentially from the start, the people who've been funding his political rise are these Wall Street people and these Harvard people, and those are his cohort, right? And you're just like, it's almost like there's things that are bigger than, he's a black guy, he's pretty smart, people who aren't racist are gonna like him. It's like, man, this guy has an end that he's trying to serve. There's a cohort of people that he comes from. But you have to go beyond playing my team is blue, your team is red, to even have an understanding of that. And again, that's not to say I'm like, Barack Obama is individually evil, which is another thing you have to get over yourself. He's just a guy who's gonna go in there and do what any other guy is gonna do behind the machine, because that's what the machine wants you to do, right? But you have to have a better understanding of this. And the reason why I say this, and I'm gonna stop talking about Aaron Rodgers, when he talked about why he likes RFK, he basically was like, all these politicians are corrupt, blah, blah, blah. But RFK, I like him because he's X, Y, and Z. Like his belief is that there's a guy who can show up and just change all of this at the snap of a finger. Like it just shows you he has a very rudimentary understanding of this stuff. He's not thinking about it that much or that deeply, and we shouldn't take him very seriously.
Sharon.
Well, look, let me tell you something. After the report came out, Aaron Rodgers didn't deny the comments that he made to the two CNN staffers, but he did tweet this. Let's put it up. As I'm on the record saying in the past, what happened in Sandy Hook was an absolute tragedy. I am not and have never been of the opinion that the events did not take place. Again, I hope that we learn from this and other tragedies to identify the signs that will allow us to prevent unnecessary loss of life. My thoughts and prayers continue to remain with the families affected along with the entire Sandy Hook community. So if I go with what Cenk said, I just need to meet him, and maybe I'll find a redeeming quality about him, or perhaps I just need to avoid him altogether. I don't know. I don't know that he doesn't have bad intentions, because when I read that, and again, there's teammates who were in the locker room said he always said stuff like this. I believe that he did say Sandy Hook didn't happen. Now, either he believed it didn't happen, which I can say is nutty, that's my opinion, or it's even worse. He believed it did happen, but he wanted to be this rabble-rouser. He wanted to attack Pamela Brown. Listen, I'm all for attacking CNN and the media. I think there's bad people on both sides of the aisle who are doing really bad stuff. I think two things can be true about Barack Obama. Okay, they could both. In order to sign up for red or blue, maybe you have to be part of that team, okay? Or else you're not going to make it there, okay? You're just not going to make it. We can agree to disagree, or we can say, you know what, that's just politics the way it is. But Aaron Rodgers said these things, and now he's tweeting out this nonsense. I've never known him to not sit down for a podcast or anything else with Candace Owen, or you guys, you really like him.
Tweeting it is the tell, Sharon, because he is willing to sit down with any media who will have him. The man loves attention. Oh my God, does he court media attention? Him tweeting it, not going on Pat McAfee's show to thoroughly explain why he thinks Sandy Hook is real is kind of the tell. But I'll say this, as a Jet fan, if this guy wins a Super Bowl with our team, all is forgiven, Sharon.
There it is. Maybe Cenk can get him to come on here. Then get him come on here, okay?
No,
he'll talk to you.
Yeah, I've tried before. We'll try again. Look, last couple of things here. Again, don't get me wrong. Sharon is right in that even that statement is not a denial. Right, he didn't say, hey, I didn't say that to those people. But on top of that, he's saying it happened. But remember, his theory is that it happened and it was the government and it was it was guys in black outfits in the woods, etc. So he didn't say anything that actually denies the conspiracy theory that he was spreading out there. Look, don't get it twisted. Aaron Rodgers is a massive conspiracy theorist. There isn't a conspiracy theory that he hasn't wanted to make out with. But as long as someone is a civilian, I know people in the real world that are conspiracy theorists, but they're not harming anyone. So, okay, bless your heart. I try to talk you out of it to the best of my ability. But as long as you're not spreading that stuff, the problem with Aaron Rodgers is that he's crossing over and going into a lot of media and spreading this nonsense. So he's starting to step out of that civilian role, in which case then we got to fight back and say, this stuff isn't true, don't listen to him, he's a little nutso, right? Even if Waz and I think that he has potentially maybe good intent, but is just misdirected. And maybe we're giving him way too much credit. But speaking of which,
too naive on Aaron Rodgers.
You guys are teddy bears. Okay, all right.
Okay, but last piece of credit to people who don't normally give credit to RFK Jr. Well played. There's no chance Aaron Rodgers is going to be his VP pick. Aaron Rodgers is about to start a new football season. He's not going to give up all those millions of dollars. He'd be nuts to do that. On the other hand, wait a minute, he is nuts. But anyway, no, that's not going to happen. But RFK Jr. got a lot of press attention by just dropping his name there. He knew everybody would bite because they're both anti-vaccine, and Rodgers is spectacularly famous. So nice job on that. Just as a matter of politics, well played.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.